All right. So tonight we're going to study the sign of Libra. Um, in the beginning, I have to tell you that the Libra is the most positive sign of the zodiac. The most positive sign of the zodiac. They're the nicest of all signs. And their correction is very, very much easier, I should say, much easier than the rest of the sign. A few questions we have to ask, and that is, the first question is, you know, the month of Libra in Hebrew called Tishrei is the month that all the major holidays fall into it. First, the beginning of the month, the first 2 days of the month of Tishrei, month of Libra, is Rosh Hashanah. The first 2 days of the Rosh Hashanah is the first day of Tishrei and the second day of Tishrei. Then on the 10th day of this month is Yom Kippur. It's Yom Kippur. Even though we fast on Yom Kippur, that's considered to be one of the most, if not the holiest day of the year. And then 4 days after that is Sukkot. We celebrate 7 days of the Sukkot. Then at the end of the month, we have Simchat Torah. So this month is like full of holidays. It's like God wanted to deprive Scorpio of having any holidays, so pushed everything into the month of Tishrei. So why? Why all the holidays falls into the month of Tishrei? It's the second sign of the air that we're going to study. We studied one of the air signs, which was Gemini. Now this is the second air. And Libra in Hebrew is called Moznaim. Moznaim means Libra. And Moznaim in Hebrew means balance. Means balance. And so Libra is an air sign, but the inside energy, the inner energy of Libra is water. Is water. So their feeling inside is like water. They're like kindness and love and all the attributes that comes with the water. But the outside is air. So we see there's a duality. Already we see a duality in Libra. Air and water, they're kind of opposite. Like if it was water and earth, they nourish each other, so they go together. Or it's air and fire, they still go together. Air and water, it's like two different components. There's a duality in there. The letter that created the month of Tishrei is the letter Lamed. If you remember, we said the Hebrew letters created the constellation and the month. Letter Lamed, here's letter Lamed, is the letter that created the month of Tishrei. Letter Lamed is interesting that it's the only letter that goes above the line. All the Hebrew letters are between the lines. There are two lines. There is only one letter that goes above the line, and that's letter Lamed. And if you look at the letter Lamed, it's actually is the combination of three letters. There is a Yud, there is a Vav, and there is a Kuf. It seems that the letter Lamed has three different components, three different ingredients to it. And the letter that created the constellation of Libra is the letter Pei. Letter Pei. Now if you look at the letter Pei seems to be three different letters, three Vav. 1, 2, 3. And then if you look at the letter Pei, you see the letter Bet inside the Pei. You see it? You see the Bet inside the Pei? Everybody see that? So it's very interesting that there are these two letters created this constellation and the month. Bet represents blessing. Bet represents bracha. So, and the fact that the letter Lamed goes above the line, the Kabbalist concludes that it's the letter that connects itself. It's the only letter that connects itself to the upper world, to the Sephirah we call Binah. So it seems to be all about blessing, connected to the upper world, and all the good things. Okay, and the planet that rules this month is what? Venus. Venus, the planet that also ruled Taurus. But Taurus was an earth sign. Here we see Libra as an air sign. So how come Taurus how come Venus could rule two different signs with totally different kind of characters? Okay, we're going to learn all these secrets, that everything that we talked about, the concept of why all the high holidays are falling in this month, almost all of them, and the meaning of Muznayin, which means balance. What does it have to do with this month? Before we do that, let's talk about the characteristics of the people who are born in this month. So I'm going to put all the Libras. You know, it's so funny. A friend of mine, when he was listening to the class of the Leo, he said, "I thought you were just talking about me. Everything about me." Leo was about me. But when we study the characteristic, one thing is very important to know, that we may think that, oh, everything that I heard about this month is about me. It's good and bad. It's good because you can connect to it, you can understand yourself. And it's not so good because if all the characteristics that we talk about, you have it, that means we really haven't changed ourselves. We're totally under the control of that planet, of that sign. We want to control our sign. We don't want to be controlled by our sign. If we are controlled by our sign, then we haven't done much. But if we can control the negativity of that month, and that's why we learn astrology. We learn astrology to learn about ourselves, so I can control my negative behavior, my negative attributes. Okay, so let's start with Libras. When you look at a Libras are beautiful. Libras are beautiful. They have a very, very beautiful face. They have a very soft and easy look to their face. They're very, very nice. The nicest of all the signs of the zodiacs are the Libras. They're not vicious. They're not bad people. They're very, very sweet people. They're good people. They're good kids. And it's very, very easy to see a Libra. Libra stands nice, soft, beautiful smile, beautiful eyes, very calm attitude, I should say. And it's very easy to see them. It's very easy to recognize a Libra. One thing is about Libra is very funny is they have a special sound when they laugh. Libra has a special sound into their laughing. When somebody laughs and it's interesting and it's cute and it sounds different, you go, who was that? That's a Libra. The laugh of a Libra is different. Libra, all their life, they're looking for balance. This is one thing that they search all their life. This is something that they seek all their life, to find balance in life, to find balance in their own life. And the sad thing is they will never find it. They look for justice, they look for balance, and they never find it. Another thing about Libras that is very, very obvious, and it shares almost all the Libras, is it's very difficult for a Libra to make a decision. Very difficult for them to make a decision. And why is that? It's not that they're not smart, it's not that they don't know. Actually, on the contrary, they see everything. They see all sides. They see, when they are faced with a situation that they have to make a decision, they see what is exactly good about that situation and what is exactly bad about that situation. What is good, what is right, and what is wrong. They see everything. You remember we talked about Virgos that they see the details? You remember? Virgos, they see the details. They fail to see the big picture. Libras, they see the details, they see the big picture, they see everything. And because they see everything, they cannot make a decision. So what is right now? They see, when you argue about something, they see the both sides of the argument. And it's kind of difficult for them to see it, to make a decision. It's very hard for them to choose something. And they do investigate in everything. They investigate in people, they investigate in plans. Everything that they want to do, they look into it, they study it, they investigate it, and they see every aspect of everything that they want to do. And because of that, again, it's hard for them to make a decision. Their inner energy, we said, is water. Their inside energy, their inner energy is water. And that's what makes them so nice. They are good people. They have beautiful hearts. Libras have beautiful hearts. They want to help people. They want to help their friends. They want to help their family most. And they want to help everybody. They have the greatest heart. They're very social. They're good in communication. People love Libras. It's as simple as that. They love to be loved. They want to be loved by people. And people do love Libras. Libras, they prefer, I shouldn't say prefer, they ignore their own problems and they try to help other people with their problems. They're very, very open though. They're very warm, very nice. And as much as they seem to be nice and open and sweet, they always hide something though. They never totally open their hearts to you. They always keep something. They never give you 100%. And this is very important to understand. It's very important to understand. We say they have the greatest heart of all the signs of the zodiac. They love to help. They want to be there for you, and they are there for you. But they're not there for you 100%. They always hold back because they need to feel safe. It's very important for them to feel safe. They don't trust people too easily. They investigate people. They investigate their friends. They look into every aspect of details of the people around them. And because of that, they always hold back. Even though they don't give you 100%, but they want 100% from you. If they are with you, if they are your friends, if they are around you, they expect you to be there for them 100%. It's very interesting that everything that they don't do and they don't give, if you don't give, they're not going to be happy with you. They're not going to stay with you. They want 100% from you, but they're not going to give their 100% themselves. Libras could fall into the problem of not having self-confidence or self-esteem. Some of the Libras, they have a hard time when they are very, very young. When they're during their childhood, because they're so nice, because they're so soft, and they're so nice, and they're so giving. Their childhood could be a difficult time for them. You know, when you look at the Aries, you see the ego. When you look at the Leo, you see the ego. When you look at the Libra, it seems that they have no ego at all. They're so nice, they're so wonderful, they're so quiet, they're so nice, you think they don't have ego. But they have ego. Actually, they have a huge ego, and we're going to talk about that. You know, we think that ego is when I'm too sure of myself, when I love myself. You know, when I walk in and I go, I'm better than everybody else. We call that ego. But no, shyness is ego too. If I think that I'm not so good, who's telling me that I'm not so good? It's my ego who's telling me that I'm not so good. They love justice, like I said. All their life, they look for justice. And because they are an air sign, just like Gemini, they make decision very quickly. They can make decision very quickly. Sometimes they make decision without any logic behind it. And they could fall into the concept of regret about things that they happened in the past. You know, they always think, maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have taken the different path. Maybe I should have chosen something else. They always have this feeling of regret that maybe they didn't do the right thing. You know, something is very interesting about Libras is they always want to do things. They want to do certain plans. They want to work different things. They talk about it. But most of the time, they don't get to do it. It's kind of, I don't want to call it lazy, but it seems that way to the people around them. They promise to do things. They promise themselves that they will do things. They promise the people around them they want to do things. But when it comes to action, they don't do it. They stay back. Why? Why do you think it's that way? It seems like that they don't have the energy to do the job. Sometimes they think, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not good enough. And when they fall into bad mood, when they become depressed, they stay there for a long, long time. And what should people around Libras do when they see Libras that they are sad or they are in a bad mood?
Leave them alone.
Leave them alone. Leave them alone. They need to be on their own to get out of it. And the best thing to do to bring Libra back, offer him a good food, good music, take him out, take him for dinner, a good lunch, something, good music, a good book. This is difficult, but I need to share it with you guys. There is a concept that says that if you need to cross a street, first you have to cross half of that street. And before you cross half of the street, you need to cross a quarter of the street. And before you cross the quarter of the street, you have to cross 1/8 of the street. So you come to a point that you don't really cross the street because you haven't decided at least to cross 1/16 of the street. And that's kind of resonate with how Libras do things in their life. In order to do something, then they have to take a step and do it, and then they're not sure if it's the right thing to do, and they'll never do it because they're not sure if it's the right thing to do. When we say they could be lazy, is because they're not sure if what they're going to do is the right thing for them to do. It's not they're lazy because the laziness that we talked about Taurus. Taurus loves to sit somewhere, be quiet, be on his own, and don't bother me. That's a Taurus. So the laziness of Taurus is different from the laziness of the Libra. Because Libra is not so sure about himself or herself, then they would rather not to do it at all than to do it, because I may not do a good job after all, so why should I bother? And who is that? Who's the ego? Exactly. The sound is behind their consciousness that tell them it's probably not, it's not a good idea. So they won't do it. Libras tends to be very lonely internally. Even when they have love in their life, even they are in a marriage, even when they have close friends, they still feel lonely inside. And one thing about Libra, I have an experience with the Libras in my life, is, I haven't seen it, but it's part of the study that we do, that they don't stay in one relationship sometimes. They move on. They move on. One of the reasons that they don't stay in one relationship is because they're not sure if that's the best relationship that they are in. They move on. And even with regular friends, they're with you today, and they're lovely with you today, they're your best friends, and all of a sudden next week they're not around. They're not around for the longest time. What happened? And then you haven't seen them for a few months, and you see them, and they're back again with all the love and everything, like nothing happened. Like nothing happened. And things happen between a Libra and his or her friends, and they don't take nothing personally. A few months later, you maybe had the worst argument with them, and a few months later, you haven't seen them, you see them, and it's like nothing ever happened. They're back with you again. And once you think they're back with you again, the next morning, they're not there. They could fall into addiction. And when I say addiction, I don't necessarily mean drug addiction. Any behavioral addictions, they may fall into it. Usually they exaggerate in everything that they do. And that causes them to be sort of extreme in their behavior. I said Libras are nice, good, right? Now we're getting to heavy things. They love entertainment, they love music, they appreciate art, books. You know, Libras love letters. Beautiful notes, love letters, they love it. When they face with challenges in their life, exactly opposite of Virgo. You remember Virgo, when something is on their mind, it's out there, they talk about it, they tell you exactly what it is. Not Libras. Libras, they do not tell you directly if they have an issue with you. They go through friends, they go through from side doors. They do not tell you how they feel about you directly, or what they didn't like, or what they, when you have a complaint or something, they don't say it straight. They go from sides, not directly. They have a fantastic memory. Libras, they have a fantastic memory. They remember things about you that you may not remember about yourself. They remember the birthdays, they remember the good things, they remember everything. Fantastic memory. They're very curious, just like what we learned about Geminis. They're very curious, they want to know. They're very sensitive about knowing things. They take it very personally when they want to learn things about everything, especially other people. And they love to argue. They actually have a passion to argue. They argue nonsense. They argue just for the sake of arguing. They love to have a good image in social life. It's very important for them that people see them as good, as nice, as people who are just, as people who have balance in their life. everything that they don't have, the lack that they have, they like to show it to the people that they don't have that lack. And if they see the lack that they have in other people, they hate it. They can be very stubborn. They can be very stubborn. But usually, overall, people love Libras. They appreciate Libras. They're so nice to be around Libras. When you're with a Libra, you're good. You know, when you're with a Scorpio, watch out, right? When you're with a Leo, they're gonna burn you out. When you're with an Aries, they may hit your head. You know, you never know what you're gonna end up if you're with Aquarius. All this. With Libras, life is simple, life is good, life is peaceful, life is beautiful. Generally, again, Libras are good. They're considered to be the best sign of the zodiac. It seems that the only issues that they have is to make decisions. It's like making decisions. They love to go into things with partners. They don't like to do things on their own. They're not good to do things on their own. They always like to have a friend, a partner to go with. They need people who can make a decision for them. You know, if you put a Libra with a Scorpio, it actually might work out very well, because Scorpio loves to make a decision for you. Libra doesn't want to make a decision for you, so they leave the Scorpio to drive. They love, you know, they're with an Aries, no problem. Aries makes a decision and that's it. It's good, but it's not so good for them. It's easy for them, but it's not good for them. Let's get into the details of why they are the way they are, and understand why we need Libras in our life. What is the whole idea of the month of Tishrei? Why all the holidays that falls in this month has to do with the Libras? Then again, before I continue, I want to tell you this. If you're a Libra, we know there is no such a thing as luck in Kabbalah, but you're lucky because you've done good your previous life. There is not much of a correction for a Libra. They are good souls. They're pure souls. Good-hearted people. They're wonderful. They just need to make a decision. They just need to pick a decision and go on with it.
They were Aries, right?
Huh?
They used to be Aries?
They used to be Aries.
So what are they going to be next?
Well, hopefully they finish it up and they don't have to be next. But then again, they could go back to become an Aries, or they may. I don't have that with me yet, but let's understand them now, so we can continue. You know, the planet Venus that rules Libra, it's called Noga. Planet Noga. Venus is beautiful. It's the most beautiful planet in our solar system. Noga has a duality in it. The name Noga, we know that there is a klipa called Klipa Noga. Klipa means a dark shell. When a baby is born, a boy baby, we know that we do the circumcision for them on the 8th day. The skin that they remove, in Kabbalah they call it Klipa Noga. In Kabbalah we understand that the reason that we do a Brit Milah for a baby is to remove that aspect of negativity that comes with every boy when they are born into this world. So the removal of the foreskin of the baby is considered removing all the negative. That's why they say when you go to a Brit Milah, it's like actually going to 40 days of fasting. It has so much blessing. Why? Because that part of the negativity is removed from the baby. So when we talk about the Noga, the planet of Venus, planet of Noga, there seems to be a duality in it. The good and the bad. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's very, very nice. But then on the other hand, it contains the most negative aspect of life in it. And that's why That's why Libras, they can become confused in making decisions. The fact that their inner energy is water, but their outer energy is air, there is a huge duality in their consciousness, in their behavior. You know, sometimes we look at something that seems to be very, very dark, like God forbid, a curse. Something that may look very, very bad today, it might be a wonderful thing for us later on in our life. You know, I'm sure everybody experienced that things happen in our life that seems awful at that time, right? Something happens, God forbid, something really, really bad, and we think it was the worst thing that happened to me. And later on in life, we realize not only that wasn't a curse, it was actually a blessing. It was actually a blessing. So something that seems to be curse or negative, later on in life, could be a good thing, could be a blessing. So choosing between curse and blessing, it's not an easy thing. It says in the Torah, it says in the Bible that God says, I give you the good and the bad, choose good. I give you life and death, choose life. Who doesn't want to choose life? Who doesn't want to choose the right thing? But not always the right thing seems right. Not always the blessing seems like a blessing. About 20 years ago, I got into this, 30 years ago, I'm getting old. About 30 years ago, I got into this business, and it turned out to be so sour. So sour. I was very, very young, and I lost everything that I had. And I thought that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Later on in life, I realized that was the best thing that happened to me, because if I would have stayed in that business, I would have been totally miserable versus where I am today. So something that looked like a curse 30 years ago for me, now I see it as a blessing. So in the world that we live in, sometimes the curses look like blessing, and sometimes blessing looks like curses. And this is the duality, that exists within the energy of this month. And it affects the people who are born under this month. Like I said, you know, in this month of Tishrei, we have Rosh Hashanah. The first 2 days of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah. And what is Rosh Hashanah? What is Rosh Hashanah? It's a day of judgment, day of justice. It's something that Libra seeks all the time in their life. They want to find balance in their life. You know, the sign of the Libra is a scale, which is balance. So all their life, they're seeking this balance. They're seeking this central column, this balance in their life. But because they have this duality within them, the duality of seeing all the good and all the bad, somehow making the choices, it becomes very, very difficult. Sometimes when I don't have all the details, I can make a decision. But when everything they put in front of me, the good and the bad, things becomes difficult to choose. So what happens in Rosh Hashanah? In Rosh Hashanah, it's the day of justice. It's the day we go to court. It's the day we go to court. Is it good? It says that on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, God will write that if I live or if I'm going to die that year. So it's good and it's bad. What if I don't live? What if I haven't cleansed myself? Where it says, I have cleansed myself. I have changed myself. This duality that exists in the Libra, it's the duality that exists in the month of Tishrei. And it's a duality that we all need to live in it to make the right choices. One thing Libra has to understand, and it's not just for Libra, it's all of us, there is no wrong choices. There is no bad choices. Every time we make a decision based on things that happen in our life, sometimes we are forced to make a decision. And that decision is exactly where I need to be at that time in my life. You know, in Kabbalah we learn that if you get off the highway, there is always an on-ramp, immediately. And even if you get off the highway, if you're off of the street, being that a street at that moment in your life, it's probably the best thing for you. It's where you're going to grow, where you're going to learn things. In Rosh Hashanah is not an easy thing. There is so much restriction about Rosh Hashanah. It's 2 days. We have to go to the synagogue. We have to stay a long time in synagogues. We have to listen to the shofar. Everything is very... And then comes the month of... Then comes Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is not easy at all. Even though we connect to the highest level of energy of the year on that Yom Kippur, but it requires a lot of work. I have to fast at least 26 hours. I have to stay away from a lot of things. There's a lot of restriction about Yom Kippur. And that's what makes Yom Kippur, all this restriction, all this saying no to the things that I like, that my physical body likes. Then there is a Sukkot. If you want to connect to the Sukkot, there is a lot of work to do. You have to build the Sukkah. We have to buy the lulav and etrog and go and shake. And there is so much going on. It's not an easy thing. There is a lot of work comes with connecting to the force that we call it balance, justice in that month. Libra is afraid to take a step because they're afraid that they're going to make a mistake. The reason that they don't want to do the job is not that they're lazy, is they're afraid that to make a mistake. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to look bad. So I don't take the chance. I need somebody to be with me. I need somebody to help me make a choice. Libra has to understand that there is no wrong choice. Libra has to understand that he or she has to take the walk, has to do the action. And it doesn't matter if it's going to come out rosy or not, as part of the life. The fact that Libra stands back and becomes passive and it doesn't want to do the job, doesn't want to go through the hardship, doesn't want to go through the pain that is required to gain balance, to gain life in their life. There is work to do in Rosh Hashanah. There is a lot of work to do in Yom Kippur. There is a lot of work to do in Sukkot. There is work to do. In order for someone to be spiritual, you need to work on it. You need to make action. You may need to make the decision. And I cannot worry about if this is the right thing or this is the wrong thing. And I have to stick with it. I said, Libra, they don't stick with their friends for long. They move on everywhere that is comfortable. Libra loves to stay in his comfort zone. But that's not how we grow. We need to take chances. We need to have some risks in our life. That's how we grow. The only way to grow is to fall. Is to make mistake. We human beings, we make mistake all day. All day. And there is no way around it. You cannot be righteous all day. There is no way that you could have a perfect life, just life, a balanced life all the time. It's impossible. It doesn't work that way. No matter how great we are, no matter how elevated we become, no matter how spiritual we become. The challenge that we face grows with us as we grow. No matter how smart I get, how wise I get, my competition, my challenge comes to the same level with me all the time. All the time. The decision you have to make, as harder as it to make, tomorrow is going to be even harder. If you're smarter tomorrow. If you even change yourself tomorrow. So we always face with the challenges that we get knocked out. We make mistake. We say the wrong thing. We make the wrong move. But that's part of the life. It has to be. I have to jump into the pool, even though I know it's going to be cold or it's going to be too hot. I have to make the jump. I have to walk the walk. I have to do the job. I have to get into the relationship. I have to work on a relationship. I have to work on my career. I have to study. I have to go through the pain. And it doesn't matter if I make a mistake. Making a mistake is it's the initiation place for me to grow. There is no way of growing without not falling. They say, in Kabbalah, the light is into the falling. The light is into the falling. What does that mean? Every time we face a challenge and we fall, every time we face some form of challenge and we fall, you're supposed to fall. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, they had no choice. They had no choice. Even though it seems that they had a choice to eat from the tree of life or not to eat from tree of good and evil, good and bad. And God told them, don't eat this, eat that. Good for a Libra, right? You think Adam, if it was a Libra, he wouldn't take a bite of an apple? He would. Still he would. Because we live in the world that there has to be falling. Like I said, the light is into the falling. What do I mean? Let's say there is a situation. You make a mistake. You say the wrong thing. You make a wrong act. And you fall. When you're falling, the light force is with you into the falling. As you are falling, the light is there as you are falling. He is actually waiting for you at the bottom of the pit. The light is at the bottom of the pit before you fall to the bottom of the pit. He is there for you. The point is, and that's what learning Kabbalah comes to help, is what am I going to do when I'm down there? Am I going to sit there and feel sorry? Oh, I shouldn't make that mistake. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Oh, I shouldn't take a different route. Or immediately get up and go, I learned from it. I'm going to go on. They say God is at the bottom of the pit and He's helping you. He has a ladder for you to go up. And that's how we create light. We can only create light when there is darkness. You can only do good things when there is a challenge. You can only grow if there is a test. Libra doesn't want to take a test because he's afraid he's going to fail the test. And it doesn't matter. A Libra has to understand that it doesn't matter if I win or if I lose. It doesn't matter if I fail. It doesn't matter if it's the wrong choice. I have to take a choice. I have to take my chances. I have to walk the walk. I have to take this job. I have to get into this relationship. I have to work on it. Then I will learn then. And if it was the wrong choice, if I think that it was a wrong choice, and it's never the wrong choice. We always learn. We learn from the curses. The only way to get to the blessing is going through the curses, is walking it when it's difficult. And then we appreciate good things when we face difficult things. You appreciate a good food when you're hungry. If you're not hungry, you don't appreciate the food. So the tikkun of Libra is really, really simple. Right? For everybody else but the Libras. Libra can be the most spiritual of all the signs. Can be the most spiritual of all the signs. Why? God gave them all the best holidays. And we get to a Scorpio and we'll see poor Scorpio has nothing to hold on. I'm just kidding. But Libras, they have all the tools. They just have to take the tools. They just have to walk the walk. And that's a Libra. Any question? Yes?
Somebody mentioned that Libras were Aries before. I don't understand that concept.
Well, it's not so black and white. It's not so black and white, but chances are